Hi friends, welcome to Science Studio. Are you curious to know what phospholipids are? If yes, then this video is for you. When you come across any nomenclature and want to get an idea about primary component of the compound, then pay attention to the last part of the name. Here in phospholipids, lipids come last and thus signify that phospholipids are primarily lipids, having major substitution of phosphate group. These phosphate groups can be one or more than that. So, if it is a lipid, it can have a phosphate group, another phosphate group, and another phosphate group. So, phospholipids are lipids containing one or more phosphate group. Now you have got an idea that phospholipids have two components, the lipid and phosphate group. Let's understand both of these components briefly and one by one. Starting with phosphate group, it is a functional group characterized by phosphorus atom bonded to four oxygen atoms. Since phosphorus is pentavalent, one oxygen atom is bonded by double bond and another by single bonds. Let's try to understand now lipids. Lipids are organic molecules that are poorly soluble or virtually insoluble in water, but soluble in non-polar organic solvents. It means they will not be miscible in aqueous solutions but miscible in non-aqueous solvents. For example, benzene, ether, chloroform, which are non-polar and organic in nature. They are derived from fatty acids. Fatty acids are carboxylic acids with a long hydrocarbon chain. Length is determined by carbon number, which can range from 4 to 36. These chains can have single bond or double bond or triple bond. If they are having single bond, these are known as saturated hydrocarbon chain. And in another case, these would be known as unsaturated hydrocarbon chain. Also, these chains can be unbranched as shown here, or they can be branched. These two factors, branching and bonding, determine physical properties of the lipids. Thus, we can represent long hydrocarbon chain as R, and fatty acids can be represented as RCOOH. We mentioned before lipids are derivatives of fatty acids. So, what kind of derivatives? These are alcohol esters of fatty acids, and the most common alcohol is glycerol. Glycerol, when undergoes reaction with fatty acid, esterification reaction occurs between hydroxyl group of glycerol and carboxylic group of fatty acid. This ester bond establishes between them and acyl group of fatty acid attaches to glycerol. This is known as monoacyl glycerol. One represents the position of hydroxyl group on the carbon chain of glycerol where the esterification reaction occurs. Similarly, when monoacyl glycerol reacts with another fatty acid, diacyl glycerols are formed, and when diacyl glycerol reacts with another fatty acid, triacyl glycerols are formed. Since glycerol is carrying three acyl groups of three fatty acids, thus it is known as triacyl glycerol. All of these are esterification reactions, and these are simply the lipids. Now we have understood lipids and phosphate group. Let's come back again to phospholipids. Here you can see that a diacyl glycerol reacts with phosphoric acid, undergoes esterification reaction, and the compound that forms after that is known as glycerophospholipid. These are also known as phospholipids in general. The hydroxyl group of phosphoric acid can react with another alcohol group and can get attached to a compound. This gives rise to variation among these phospholipids. Let's say if this compound is another molecule of glycerol, the compound that results after the reaction is known as phosphatidylglycerol and it is a phospholipid. Similarly, let's say if the compound is an amino acid with hydroxyl group, for example, serine, then the resulting compound would be phosphatidylserine. Thus, glycerol backbone, phosphate group, and the COO groups of the phospholipid or glycerophospholipid form the hydrophilic part that tends to face the aqueous solution. And the long hydrocarbon chains, whether they are saturated or unsaturated, these are hydrophobic and non-polar, and they tend to face each other. Thus, in a biomembrane, the phospholipid bilayer is found. That is one layer of the phospholipid and another layer of phospholipid. And these are the building blocks of the cell membranes. I hope phospholipids are clear to you. And if you have liked this video, please give a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe.